Would the administration ever raise taxes in order to fund this war?
Again, Kristen, the terrible framing. I think that
it's just it's a simple question that I think a lot of people have.
It's a ridiculous question.
Well, what can you answer it?
Just as a reminder, Scott Bessent is the Treasury Secretary, so that means his entire job is to answer how America will pay for things and its plan to pay for things. And so when a reporter asks the most basic possible version of that question, will the Trump administration raise taxes to fund the Iran war, he instead calls it a ridiculous question and then just gives us a creepy little smile and says nothing else. To be super clear, I mean, he could have just said no. That's a very easy answer. But instead, he chose to get huffy with the reporter, maybe because he actually can't say no to that question. The Iran war currently costs $1 billion in taxpayer money every single day. On top of that, last week, the Pentagon requested $200 billion in additional funds to help with the war. And Americans everywhere are asking, how exactly do we plan on paying for that?
Let's talk about the overall cost of this war. The administration's asking Congress poised to an additional $200 billion in additional funding for this war. Some Republicans who could cast key votes on this are expressing hesitation or outright opposition. Take a listen to them, and then I want to get your reaction on the other side.
Are there any initial red flags for you?
No, I mean, it's a lot of money. I'll go through it, see what they need.
I am a no. I've already told leadership I am a no on any war supplementals. I am so tired of spending money elsewhere.
Should President Trump have gone to Congress on the front end of this war if he was going to ask for Congress's help now for more funding?
Again, President Trump was within his authorities, under the War Powers Act, to initiate this action. And we actually now we have plenty of money to fund this war. What we are doing is this is supplemental. President Trump has built up the military as he did in his first term, as he is now doing in his second term, and he wants to make sure that the military is well supplied going forward.
So she shows Scott some clips of his own party members, including Lauren Boebert, who is not exactly known for her nuanced fiscal restraint, but even she is saying that she is an absolute no on this $200 billion in additional assistance to fund the war. And Scott's response is, don't worry, we have plenty of money. How does that track exactly? We have plenty of money, but we also need $200 billion more for the war, but also we do have the money, don't worry. And it is so interesting, actually, that Trump will go to Congress to ask for $200 billion in additional funding for this war, but apparently is unable to find money for Medicaid or SNAP benefits or to pay the TSA workers during the DHS shutdown.
Why would we do that? That we have plenty. We have $1 trillion in this year's budget for the military. And President Trump, even before the conflict started, had said that he would like to further build out the military.
So just is raising taxes under consideration at all? If you're saying you have plenty of money.
Not at all.
And then to circle back on the tax question, Scott then says, why would we raise taxes? We have $1 trillion in the military budget. Okay, but I mean, apparently the $1 trillion in the military budget isn't enough because now the Pentagon needs an additional $200 billion because apparently $1 trillion is both plenty of money, but also not quite enough money, depending on which question you're trying to fumble your way through. If you have plenty of money, trillions by your own count, why is there a need for a supplemental? What exactly is being supplemented? You can't tell a reporter we have plenty of money and then go ask Congress for $200 billion extra dollars of, let's not forget, taxpayer money. And I want to repeat that this is the same exact administration that just a few months ago in this term cut $1 trillion in Medicaid benefits and $500 billion in SNAP benefits. Your healthcare and your food assistance were cut directly to pay for this war that nobody asks for and nobody wants.
Let's turn to how all of this is impacting consumers. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby is now planning, he says, to cut flights and is planning for oil to go as high as $175 a barrel, with prices potentially staying above $100 a barrel through 2027. This is according to him. All of this could potentially mean higher prices for consumers. What do you say to Americans who feel they were promised lower costs and now they're getting the opposite?
Kristen, I think the American people understand that in any 50, I'm not going to put a time on it, but let's just pick 50 days of temporary elevated prices. Prices will come off on the other side for 50 years of not having an Iranian regime with a nuclear weapon. The American people, are beginning to understand, thanks to President Trump, that there is no prosperity without security.
I heard you say 50 days. Are you saying that prices could start to come down?
No.
What's the time frame?
I was just picking a point. I don't know whether it's going to be 30 days. I don't know whether it's going to be 50 days. I don't know whether it's going to be 100 days. But to have 50 years, peace in the Middle East, and know that the Iranian regime is defanged. Because, Kristen, what we had before was the illusion of security.
And if you're wondering, like I was, because I went and Googled this right after I watched this clip, Scott's net worth is something like $500 million. So then maybe that gives you some insight into why he does not care at all about higher prices, and why he doesn't even blink when asking Americans to swallow higher prices for, let me check what he said, was it 30 days or was it 50 days or 100 days? He can't even give you a timeline. So now we have to deal with higher gas prices, higher airfare prices, higher prices on literally anything that moves on a plane or a truck. So that means higher prices for groceries, and higher costs to just get to work, and higher costs for your family vacation, all of which was already expensive and is only going to continue to get more expensive. And these are the same people, the same exact administration who told you that they didn't have money for your healthcare or for your food assistance or for your housing assistance or to raise the minimum wage, but they have no problem spending $1 trillion, $1 billion a day on a war that nobody wanted and nobody asked for. The Trump administration promised you lower costs on day one, but they didn't do that, nor did they do that on day 50. And now they're saying, actually, you might have to deal with higher costs for 30 days or maybe 50 days or maybe 100 days or maybe actually we're not sure how long. Scott's interview is all just a long way of saying, we don't care. The Trump administration does not care about higher prices because none of them have to deal with it. Trump is a billionaire and he has surrounded himself with billionaires. And those are the people he cares about. And that's why none of them feel it when the price of gas goes up or the price of groceries go up or the price of daycare goes up. And that's why Scott won't even bother putting a timeline on higher prices, because he does not care about you and he does not care about your bills.
Congressman, what do you say to Americans who think that we're involved in this war now in Iran as a distraction from the Epstein files?
Well, I think they have good reason to think that. I mean, we have a president who can't even explain why the hell we're at war, can't define what the mission is, can't tell us when it's going to end. He's spending $1 billion a day on this war. At the same time, he's not doing anything to help end hunger in this country. He's doing nothing to make child care more affordable or to make health care more accessible or affordable. I mean, he said we don't have the money, but we have $1 billion a day to blow on this crazy war halfway around the world. So, I wouldn't put anything past this president. I think he's hollow, I think he's immoral, and I don't think he gives a shit about the American people.
I guess that kind of goes along with lines with my next question of, what do you make of him spending 4 days in Palm Beach golfing in the middle of a war?
Yeah, it tells you all you need to know about this guy. I mean, he's living in his own world, and he doesn't care about regular people. I mean, he's a multi-billionaire. All he cares about is making money. He doesn't care about any of the problems that my constituents face. The gas prices are skyrocketing, and he's golfing.
As a side note, after spending this entire video hearing Scott do financial gymnastics over and over and over again, how refreshing is it to hear someone just give a straight answer to a question? But let's get into the meat of what he actually said. $1 billion a day. That is what this war costs. $1 billion every single day for a war with no stated end date and no defined mission. And while that meter is running, childcare is still unaffordable, healthcare is still unaffordable. The same administration that can't find money for SNAP or for Medicaid or for minimum wage increases is spending $1 billion a day of your taxpayer dollars on a war that the president can't explain. And Trump spending 4 days in Palm Beach in the middle of this war tells you everything you need to know. He never cared about you, he never cared about this country, and he never will. Let's finish things off with one last clip of Scott to just drive this home.
He posted this, quote, "Robert Mueller just died. Good, I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people." Do you think it's appropriate for the President of the United States to celebrate the death of an American citizen, someone who's a Bronze Star, Purple Heart recipient and who served in Vietnam?
Kristen, I was with the President in the green room at Davos, and there was a video playing of what may have been an illegal raid on his home at Mar-a-Lago. They are going through his wife's wardrobe, and I watched the look in his eye, and I think that neither one of us can understand what has been done to the president and to his family.
But to the question of the president's post, I mean, Robert Mueller didn't order that raid. Is it appropriate for the president to celebrate the death of any American citizen,
again,
Mr. Secretary?
I think that given what has been done to President Trump and his family, it is impossible for either of us to understand what he has been through.
A reporter asked Scott whether it was appropriate for the president of the United States to celebrate the death of an American citizen. And his answer was, you have to understand what Trump has been through. I can't even say that with a straight face, because what are we talking about right now? Just because someone searched through Melania's luxury-filled wardrobe, it's impossible for any of us to understand the president's pain? Do I have that straight? Okay. It's impossible to understand what Trump has been through. I mean, that's kind of true, because most Americans will never have his wealth, or his lawyers, or his security detail, or his private jets, or his golf courses, or his ability to get the best healthcare money can buy, or the luxury of spending a week at Palm Beach in the middle of a war that he started. $1 billion of taxpayer money has been spent on this war every single day. Meanwhile, Medicaid benefits have been cut, SNAP benefits have been cut, childcare is more expensive every single day, gas prices are skyrocketing, and Scott's argument is that we should have more empathy for the president. That is the Republican message.